When Tupac dropped Hit 'Em Up, he changed hip-hop forever. The way people saw diss records, the way people came at diss records changed forever. Besides No Vaseline, this is probably one of the greatest diss tracks in rap history. So today's video, we're gonna dive deep into the East versus West Coast beef. It's your host from the West Coast, Nate Kusher. Let's get into it. First off, fuck you and the clique you claim. That was Tupac. Straight off the bat, when he dropped those words, the whole rap world froze. He said, "You claim to be a player, but your wife." Like, damn, bro, that's how you feeling? He had Biggie looking at Faith like, that's what we doing now? He had that man thinking his whole world was being sabotaged. Tupac was literally playing psychological warfare with Biggie and Puff. That wasn't a punchline, that was humiliation. Pac was sending a message that nobody was untouchable, and he doubled down by the end of the song, going after Prodigy's health condition, talking about, damn, don't one of you got sickle cell or something? Like, whoa, that was crazy. Pac wasn't just throwing shade, he was cutting deep, showing he knew the streets and the stories behind every name. He called out people like Chino XL, Lil Kim, and the whole Bad Boy roster. He said, all you motherfuckers, you too, and he meant it. The video made it worse. I mean, Tupac and the Outlaws dancing around, clowning Biggie and Puff, throwing up West Coast, laughing like they already won. It was disrespect on a level hip-hop had never seen. Tupac felt betrayed after the Quad Studio shooting. He thought Big and Puff knew something and they was hiding out or holding out on him. So when he got out and he hit the booth with Death Row, he turned pain into fire. He said, "Bad Boy tried to sabotage me." And the streets believed him. Every interview, every verse, every move was part of his campaign. He wasn't just rapping, he was declaring war. And the West loved it. They saw Tupac as the voice of the whole coast. The one who wouldn't fold, the one who spoke what everybody felt. Big stayed quiet, but that silence made things louder. Tupac had flipped the game upside down, and now every rapper had to decide where they stood. East or West. The beef wasn't just music anymore, it was global. See, when Tupac touched down at Death Row, everything changed. Suge Knight pulled up like a boss, fresh off bail. Tupac out of jail, handed him the keys to the whole entire kingdom. Pac walked into the studio with fire in his chest and a chip on his shoulder. He wasn't just recording songs, he was building an army, thug life, Death Row. They already had Snoop, Dre, Dog Pound holding down the West, but when Pac brought that raw emotion, the street energy that made the label unstoppable. He dropped Ambitions as a Rider, All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli. The world knew he was back for revenge. He said, "I'm a straight rider, you don't wanna with me," and he meant it. At the Source Award, Suge looked straight at Puff and said,
"Artists that want to stay a star, don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row."
The crowd went crazy and the divide became official. The West stood tall and the East was feeling challenged. And you know, East Coast, them dudes got ego out there. They don't like that shit, B. And Pac was right in the middle of it all. Ready to lead the charge, he started calling out names in interviews, saying Bad Boy was fake, saying the East didn't show no love. He was making this shit personal, and the streets was loving it. Death Row became more than a label, it was a movement, a statement, a symbol of West Coast pride. Pac was recording music non-stop, dropping verses that sounded like war cries. He wasn't just making music, he was rewriting the rules. And Suge was behind him, pushing every line that he could. The energy around Death Row was electric, dangerous, and legendary. Pac found his home, and now he had the power to make the world listen. Meanwhile, the East Coast was holding their ground. Biggie dropped Who Shot Ya, and even though he said it wasn't directly about Pac, the time it made it feel like it was a direct shot. Tupac took that shit personally. He started saying, "You trying to play me like I'm soft, like I ain't from the streets," and that energy spread fast. The Dog Pound dropped New York, New York, stomping through Manhattan, all through New York in the music video, kicking over buildings. It was straight disrespect. Then Capone and Noriega and Mobb Deep fired back with LA LA, flipping the same beat and showing that the East wasn't gonna back down, and they the source of this shit, so they gonna dish you on your own record. Award shows turned into tension zones. You could feel it in the air, rappers watching each other's movements, crews rolling deep as fuck, security doubled up. Pac was doing interviews saying, I'm not beefing with Big personally, I'm beefing with the system that made him think he's better than me. But the streets didn't hear it that way. They heard war, they heard beef, and the media loved it, turning every quote into a headline. From Vibe magazine, MTV, radio DJs, they kept feeding that fire. It became East versus West, Brooklyn versus Compton, Bad Boy versus Death Row. Even fans was choosing up sides like it was politics. You couldn't play Juicy and then California Love back to back at a club without somebody saying something. The tension was real and dangerous. Tupac was moving like a man with something to prove, and Big was trying to keep his empire steady. Nas tried to stay neutral, but Tupac called him out in many interviews saying, Nas, you was fake for not choosing sides.
All these weak rappers, Nas, all these suckers, they battling off of East and West like this is a game.
And Jay-Z caught strays too. Pac mentioned him before Reasonable Doubt even had time to breathe. By late 1996, Pac was moving different. He wasn't just an artist anymore. As you can see, Pac didn't give a fuck no more. He was rolling heavy with Suge and Ahmad Pirus, and that energy was infectious and dangerous. Pac had become the face of the West, but he was living like he was still in the trenches. That night at the MGM Grand in Vegas, after the Mike Tyson fight, everything came to a stop. Tupac spotted Orlando Anderson, a Southside Compton Crip, who snatched a death row chain weeks earlier at the Lakewood Mall. Pac didn't hesitate, and as soon as he saw him, boom, bang, bam, swung on him. Suge and the whole crew rushed over, stomped him out, all up in the lobby. Security cameras caught it. You all know the footage. That moment sealed Tupac's fate forever. Hours later, riding down Flamingo Road in Las Vegas, a white Cadillac pulled up beside Suge's BMW and shots rang out. Pac was hit 4 times. He fought for 6 days, but the world lost him on September 13th, 1996. Hip-hop went dark. The streets of LA were cold. Rumors spread fast. People said Biggie and Puff had something to do with it. Compton turned into a war zone. The peace treaty in 9 Deuce was still fresh, but Pac's death cracked that shit wide open. Bloods and Crips was back at it, and the East versus West beef made it worse. It wasn't just rap beef anymore, it was gang politics spilling into the music industry. While LA was burning, Big was trying to change his life. He just survived a car accident and he was recovering, and he started to talk about peace in his interviews. He wanted to move past the beef with Pac, focus on his music, raise his kids. Puff told him, look, we should go to LA. We should go for the Soul Train Awards. It's the weekend. Let's show some love. Let's rebuild them bridges, because you know they missing you out there on the West Coast, baby. You gotta pull up. We gotta promote this album. They was promoting Life After Death, Big's last album, and you know, Big agreed. It was going back to Cali. It wasn't just a lyric. It was real life. Now he touched down in LA. He was doing interviews, smiling, saying he missed LA. He missed the air, the streets, all that. But people wasn't healed. They wasn't over Tupac. And on March 9th, 1997, leaving an after party at the Peterson Automotive Museum, Big's SUV, while stopped at a red light, had another car pull up and shots fired off into Big's SUV. Big was taken from us. For the second time in less than a year, hip-hop lost one of its greatest voices to gun violence. 2 kings, 2 coasts, and 2 funerals. But their deaths left hip-hop scarred, dark, cold, and forever changed.